Good evening, everyone. It's such a wonderful evening, and thank you, First Cry, for this brilliant opportunity. We'd wait for a few minutes. I'd love to have a lot of viewers today. We're going to talk about children and how Corona is affecting them and ways to help children go through this. So, my name is Shweta. I am a psychologist and a kids yoga teacher. I take creative kids yoga. I teach them yoga integrated with stories, music and dance, and I also have a private practice wherein I work with parents and children, and I have a 2-year-old at home, and I know it's really crazy. Corona is making all of us crazy, but then as parents I think it's very important for us to keep the calm and model good behavior to our children. So you're going to wait for a few more minutes so that we have everyone in. I would love to hear from all of you. Please, put in your comments whatever questions you have. Once the session is over, I'm going to answer all your questions and queries. So feel free to ask any questions regarding child mental health or parenting during the lockdown. And I'd also love to know how you are coping through this difficult time. And as a community, I think it's very important for all of us to get together as mommies and daddies, to get together and help our kids and help parents as a support group. And I'm really happy that First Cry has created such a beautiful platform for all the professionals to talk and give a lot of information to all you parents. So I think I'm going to start now. So there is this beautiful analogy, okay? So I'm going to talk about decoding the impact of lockdown on children and ways to deal with it. So every time I talk to parents, I make sure that I mention this analogy. And imagine you have these two glasses. One is the mommy or the daddy glass and the other one is a baby glass. So these two glasses are empty. So if I pour from this mommy or daddy glass into this baby glass, do you think we'd be able to pour anything? No, right? Just like that, when we as parents are super distressed and stressful and we are falling apart, we are anxious, do you think we'd be able to soothe our children or help our toddlers? I don't think that's possible. So when we are talking about children and their mental health, it's very important that we as parents are sane enough, and only then we'd be able to add some value into our children. So this is a beautiful analogy. I keep talking about this to everyone. I hope you keep this in mind from now on. And also, have you ever wondered what is in your child's mind and how they think? It's beautiful. Their mind and their imagination is beautiful. Have you ever asked your child about Corona, or have you ever taken their perspective? So this is a very interesting thing that happened with me. There were these two children who were talking to each other just before lockdown, when there was a sudden spike in COVID cases in India. So one child is talking to the other child, and the child one says, you know what, Corona is going to kill all of us and all of us are going to die. And the other child is like, are you serious? Is that what's going to happen? And these are 6-year-olds talking to each other. This is when it hit me really hard that Corona is something that is, causing threats and insecurity in a little one's mind as well. This is a problem for them as well. This might not look as big as an adult's problem, but then this is real and this is there in them as well. So they also feel uncertain, they also feel threatened, and they are not sure how to cope as well. So we are clueless, they are also clueless. So let me make this point very clear, that children are also going through a lot of psychological distress during these difficult times, and as parents we are distressed as well. Most of us are working from home, and we don't have our house helps, and we are trying to cope and make use of this time, and we are trying to balance on all kinds of dimensions. So it is quite difficult for us too. So I understand this. So most of my parents asked, ma'am, how do you think we should talk about corona to a child? So I think it's very, very important for parents to talk to them about it, talk about corona, know what is there in their mind. So there is a story that I keep telling my parents, that this story is something that is really creative, and it gives an idea of resilience to your child, and it makes them look like a superhero. So I tell my parents to say the story of like oysters or butterflies in a cocoon, or oysters in shells. We as children are also nurturing ourselves in our own cocoon. So cocoon is the house. So we are trying to build ourselves, build beautiful butterfly wings, or become a pearl. So I tell them, you tell your children that you have 4 powerful weapons while you are in this cocoon, while you are inside this beautiful cocoon. So every time the butterfly feels icky or the oyster feels icky, they go into this cocoon and they make this beautiful world inside the cocoon way more secure for them. So when they are in this cocoon, and when it opens, it becomes a pearl. So when you're in this cocoon in your house, in the sense, you have these 4 special powers. 1 is you wash your hands, 2 you use a mask, 3 you stay indoors, and 4 you socially distance. So this story has been a major hit with all my clients. I tell them to tell this story to their children, and I've got some great feedbacks on this. I would really love to know how you parents have also, I know most of us have looked for creative ways for exposing children to this information. And while you're talking about corona to your children, it is very important that you give them the real information and you don't manipulate anything. So little children are the best judges. This is something I keep saying. They know the minute you're manipulating. So don't manipulate. Tell what is truth and tell what is the reality. But also it needs to be age appropriate. So we don't want them to be bombarded with information. But whatever you're telling them is true, and it can be digested by a 2-year-old or a 4-year-old. So that is our main goal. So this is called psychoeducation when we do this with adults, but with children this is more in a creative form. When we are doing we try doing a movement, or we try telling them in forms of stories, or you tell them in forms of songs. And also role plays work great. So I had a parent who did a role play. They behaved like corona, and the child was the survivor, and how they did a nice role play between them. And there are a lot of videos on YouTube as well, so you might want to give them the right information, and this helps them to understand the situation better as well. So I'm going to start with the tips on on handling the situation better and ways to deal with it. And I would love if parents are using anything at their home and it has worked really well for them. Please put it down in the comments and ask me any questions that you might have relating to this topic. I'd love to take them towards the end. So the first very important tip is communicate. So this is not only for corona but all the time. I feel communication is the best tool that parents have in their toolkit. So every time you feel that the child is going a little away from you, or the child is behaving a little awkward, you might want to talk. You might want to sit down and just listen. So as parents, we are always on this teaching mode. What is this? What is that? And do you know the color of that? Do you know what number is that? So we always are on this learning mode, and we want to teach them continuously. I understand we want them to be geniuses, but at the same time we need to give them the time and the space to breathe and to talk and to express their feelings, and we should be their safe space. So as parents, it's very important that we just sit calmly and not take the engine, but rather take the back seat and just see what they're trying to say. A lot of times children don't really talk because they don't articulate, or they can't put things in words and feelings in words. So I know a lot of parents who've been training children to speak out their feelings, but their brain is not capable enough to talk like an adult. So as parents, we can understand from their play. So when they are playing, they do a lot of role play, So my son goes to the doctor and we come back, he does that, he brings one stick and asks me to open the mouth and all that. So they try doing what they have seen. So role play works great with children. So while they're playing, just pay more attention and see what they're doing and try to imbibe from what they are telling you. And rather than we having the upper hand and talking to them all the time, and just listen to the child and communicate. Scheduling, very important. Most of us, I know my friends who had lost their schedule totally during the first few days of lockdown, when we did not have any online classes, and we were sleeping at 2 a.m. in the morning and waking up way past the noon, and we were not very, like we knew when we have school we have to get up early and all that, but then all of us had lost this schedule. And when online classes started, few of my parents actually said that this is really helping us to put our schedule back. So for a few parents who are getting your online lectures in form of videos and not live streaming, I would really like to say that even you get on a schedule and have a schedule for sleep, have a schedule for meal times, have a schedule for learning as well. So whenever you're going to show the video, make sure you show it on the same day, same time. So if you have like 11 a.m., make sure that you show their videos on the same time. So this actually gives the child a sense, a control over their environment. It makes them feel that they have control over their environment, and they can have this flow through their day and they have a rhythm. So we want them to have this predictable routine for them to feel this control over the environment, for them to sense this. So make sure you have a rigid, not a rigid, I would say rather a semi-rigid schedule wherein you follow it and you go by it. The next thing is limit COVID related news or COVID related discussions in your house. So I see a lot of parents have been, in the background it keeps coming, and a lot of parents keep telling me, we don't watch it, but other people in the house are almost fixated to the TV and they keep watching news about COVID. So as much as it is distressing for the adult human brain, the small brain is also getting a lot affected. So when they hear news about deaths, or when they hear things that they don't know much about, so that really makes them curious about the whole thing, and they take it in a very different way. So I know children who have been saying, my parents are going to die, are my parents going to die? So they've been talking about death all day. So even the child somewhere is being affected. So you don't want to overwatch all these things. I know we have to be updated and all that, but I think maybe we can do that on our smartphones, or isolated screens wherein we are doing it on a individual basis. And another thing is physical activity. So children are not physically active anymore, and they are not running about and fighting. So fight is also very important. So they're not getting enough social and physical exposure. So having a physical activity routine in your house is very good. So I'm a creative yoga teacher. I've been taking classes for children online, and also this has helped myself too to cope during these difficult times better. So yoga is one win-win deal for the parent and the child. Another thing that we do and is a great hit in our house is hurdle running. So my child just loves to run, here and there. So I put hurdles in between. I put a table, I put a chair. So he climbs on the chair, goes under the table, and he just loves doing it. So that is one thing that is, really liked by my child. Another thing which is a great deal in our house is the fort that we construct, pseudo fort with a quilt. And then we go inside the fort and we take all our toys inside, and we have this nice tea party under our tent. So these are the things that children love, and it's always a hit with all my baby clients. So that is one thing you can do. So physical activity like crawling, jumping, and going under something, going on top of something, they really like it. So give them as much motor activity as you can throughout the day. Another thing is cuddle. So this is something I keep telling my parents. Cuddle your child, hug your child, make them feel loved. And you know why I say this? When you feel loved, there is this hormone called oxytocin that is produced in your brains, and this hormone suppresses all kinds of stress that you have. So oxytocin is a great hormone, and we want a lot of it to be produced in our heads. So hug your child to feel good and make them feel good. And so what I do is every morning when we get up, I make sure I cuddle and hug my child for like 10-15 minutes and make him feel all secure and nice and prepare him for the day. So hug your child as much as you can, and they might be a little more difficult during this time, no, right? So as parents, we are also very difficult and ready to pounce. They also get a lot difficult during these difficult times. So you want them to feel good and secure. Try hugging them, try picking them up more often, and have this undivided attention time. Like I make sure that I give at least 5 minutes in every 3-4 hours. I give 5 minutes of undivided attention to my child, and I make sure I'm just being there and just listening to what my child is trying to say, or just doing what he wants me to do. So those 5 minutes have really changed my life for now. And then another thing is model appropriate behavior. So we say that as psychologists that children are mirrors of adults they see around them. So let it be parents, let it be teachers. Children basically learn from their surroundings. They learn from what you are doing. So I see my son, putting a bindi just like I do. So they love copying you, they love doing what you are doing. So if you are going to be anxious, if you're going to be all paranoid about the situation, and you have this sense of unrest all through the day in the house, they are going to take this in, they're going to absorb all your negative energy. And this stands true even for a small infant. So talking about a 3 or a 4-year-olds, they know when you're feeling really disturbed, and so we don't want them to have that unrest. So deal with it first as an adult and be available for your child throughout the day. And when you have setbacks, you want them to be resilient later in life. So if you are having setbacks now, and if you are being anxious and shouting all through the day, getting angry for little things, they are going to do the same behavior when they are going to have setbacks. So behave like you want them to behave. That's all. That's the simplest way I can put this. Red flags. That is one thing that I talk to with all my parents. All of us as parents need to know the red flags that is related to psychological distress. So the first and the most important thing is sleep. So when the child is not sleeping enough, or when the child is having a lot of nightmares and getting up more than usual, the whole sleep regime is disturbed, there is something which is bothering your child. If the appetite has dropped, if the child is saying I don't want to eat, or I'm not hungry, or don't need this food, I don't want to eat this, I told you no. So being picky for all kinds of food and rejecting even their favorite meals, you might want to look into and see what is wrong with them. And if they stop appreciating those activities which they used to love, again you want to see why are they doing that. And children seem to have a lot of somatic complaints. They complain about a lot of body aches. They say sar dukh raha hai, my head is aching, I'm not able to focus, or my stomach is paining mama. So have you seen when children, we see this a lot when children don't want to go to school, they will make these kind of somatic complaints. They would say I'm not feeling well, I don't want to go to school. So things like this might be on a hike during these difficult times. So keep an eye, because children are not able to talk like us. So if you don't sleep for a day, you get up and tell your spouse, you know what, I didn't sleep at all and I'm feeling really depressed and I'm not feeling nice. but as children they are not able to say it out like us. They are not able to express it in form of words. They are not able to get up in the morning and say, you know what, mom, I'm really irritated with this. So it is there deep down inside them, which is why the physiological functioning is being disturbed in some sense. So you want to find out what is wrong with them. And also when the child is way too aggressive, so during these times when the child is not feeling up to it, they start getting way too aggressive. So aggression is a coping mechanism for them, and we take it in the wrong way. And I know it's very difficult for a parent to understand it as well, because handling a aggressive child all through the day is very, very draining for a mom too. So when the child gets overly aggressive, or when the child becomes mute, when the child stops talking, if it's a very talkative child and suddenly they stop talking, you might want to see what is disturbing them. So during these COVID times, it is very, very common for the child to have a sleep disturbance or an appetite drop, or losing interest in activities or being aggressive. So just understand this from a point of view of a child. So be in their shoes, empathize with them, and try to understand they are also finding this very difficult. And another thing that I would want to talk about, as psychologists, we see all kinds of well-being in terms of three domains. One is the social domain, the second one is the physical domain, the third one is the psychological domain. And sadly, COVID has put down all three domains. So the child is socially distressed, the child is not able to go out, play, meet his friends, make merry. So they're not able to do all these things, they're not able to go out. And their physical domain is also hit majorly, because they're not able to run, they're not able to get all that pump of energy that they have. It's not being used all through the day. And as parents, we are also helpless. We have work, we're putting them in front of screens, so they're not getting that physical pump that they want all through the day. So that is not being used appropriately. Another important thing is psychologically they are very, very disturbed, and they are also feeling very, very uncertain. They're not understanding why are they not sending me out, what is the problem, or why can't I go to school. So the other day my next door child was he was just throwing a tantrum saying that I want to go to school, mama, why don't you understand, I want to go to school. I felt so sorry for the child. The child really wants to go to school. I have seen children crying not to go to school. They don't want to go to school, but now it's become the other way around. They're like, I'm feeling bored, I want to meet my friends, I don't want to sit in front of the computer. So that is another thing. We have to understand that online education is a very new thing for all of us, for the child, for the teacher, for the parents. So be with the child, because as adults, like I said, at least we have the capacity to talk and express, but children don't. So if your child says, I don't want to sit in front of the computer today, just be with them and prepare them better for the next day. So one thing which really helps my clients is I tell them to practice this. So when they're playing, just give them like a laptop and tell them that your teacher is going to come now, or how are you going to behave when teacher comes tomorrow morning. So when you try and create this kind of an environment, the next day the child is all the more ready to face the situation which he's not being very, very happy with. So just practice this and be with the child and sit with the child and try to make this more enjoyable. I understand some children are having a lot of problem in sitting in one place, and it is a very difficult thing for them and as well as for us. So be with them and try to enroll them in a lot of interesting things online, like yoga or dancing or anything that would get them moving, and also they will see their friends in the screen and that might make them feel good. So enroll them in a lot of fun activities and make them enjoy this pandemic time. And also I would like to conclude by saying that make use of this opportunity to teach your children life skills. So teach them to chop vegetables, to cook, to clean the house, or to talk one-on-one, whatever you want to pick a life skill and work on it for a week or two, and then pick another life skill. So this is the time that we can really educate the child and empower them. They have feelings and insecurities very similar to an adult, so a lot of times we put them down saying that this is not important, my financial insecurities are at most priority for me. So maybe not going to school is the biggest insecurity for them. So be with them, empathize with them. So let's build a future that has resilient adults and be their safe place. Strong and secure parent-child relationship is all that we need during this difficult time. So cuddle and give all your love to your child, and I'm sure we'll be out of this very soon. And tell your child we are in this together. So I'd love to take a few questions now. I think I've got quite a few questions on. Okay. Priya Thai says, my son is 7-year-old. He gets addicted to mobile game. I also have a 6-month-old baby, hence I'm not able to engage him with other things. Please suggest some ideas to keep him engaged in other things. So thank you, Priya Thai, for the question. I think this is a problem for most of us moms right now, and it is difficult to manage 2 children. I get that. So for screen time, what we say is, a lot of times we as psychologists say that go cold turkey and just stop the screen time, but it is very important for us to teach them what to do if it is not a screen, if there is no screen. So we are doing the removing part, wherein we are able to remove the screen from their lives, but we have to add something here. So you have to teach him other activities, or you have to engage him in other activities for you to take off the screen time. And also I know that a lot of online apps are there wherein you can control the content that they see, very important, and also the time limit can be laid, and you can tell him, this is the rule for the house. So a lot of times parents tell me that my child is saying that you're a bad mom, you're not giving me screen, and next door Ajay is getting a lot of screen. So that is a normal response. Tell them that this is our house, our rules, and these are the rules for you, and you can do whatever you want other than screen all through the day, and also engage him, maybe taking care of the little one, they might like it. So that's what I can say for now. I'll take the next question. Afreen has sent us a question saying that my daughter is 4 years. She doesn't want to read anything. What to do? Okay, so for a 4-year-old, reading and writing and literacy skills are what we teach as educationists, and sadly they don't want to do this. So I think reading can start in a very creative way. So I have seen children enjoying storybooks. So you can sit along with her, Afreen, and try reading a few things, and fun stories, and a lot of animation, change your voice, animate your voice, and fun stories with movement. So first try other reading materials before you're going for academic reading. So the child needs to love the books before they really want to read. So try other books and story books before you go for academic ones. Roop. My daughter is 2.1-year-old. She's at home all the time. She was supposed to join playgroup, which won't be possible. When I'm home, she sticks to me and won't get going. How do I develop her learning skills, and what activities should she be doing? Okay, so I have a 2-year-old at home too, and I really don't do much of academic activities with him, because for now I'm just teaching him life skills and he loves it, and I go by his needs. So if he wants to jump on so he loves this climbing, jumping and all that. So when he wants to do it, I just let him do it. I give him a safe space, and I don't do a lot of teaching, so I don't think I'd be the right person to tell you what to teach your child, because I feel by a 2-year-old should be my child loves to interact with people socially. I let him do it. So whatever your child loves, just go by their lead and give them more exposure in that particular area. So my child loves to play with balls, so I let him play with balls and he loves, beating different surfaces and, finding out what the sound would be. So I give him a lot of exposure and a lot of surfaces to beat. So whatever your child likes, if your child likes, scribbling, give them a lot of colors for them to scribble. So whatever your child likes, go by their lead. A 2-year-old, I don't think, needs to be taught something externally for now. Muzammil, my daughter is 3 plus and my son is 1 plus. They both don't eat anything nutritious, and due to lockdown, physical activities are almost dead. Please suggest something, immune drinks, vitamin tablets for both. Thank you. Okay, so Muzammil, about children not eating nutritious, I conduct a lot of sessions on baby-led weaning and child nutrition. So when we talk about nutrition, I want you to know that children learn from you. If you are eating junk and if you are stocking junk, they will choose junk because it is way more tastier than our normal food. So if you want your child to come back to eating nutritious food, first of all, you have to eat nutritious. Another thing is the expectation of a parent to eat like one whole cup of meal. So what we say is, and also what researchers suggest is that a 2-year-old needs just 2 tablespoons of food, and we are trying to push the child with food. So I'm very sure that in a developing country like India, children in the middle class will be, in next 20 years, obesity will be the problem, and I don't think malnourishment will be one. So please be sure that your expectations related to food consumptions are real and you're not expecting the child to eat a lot, but whatever they're eating and they are experiencing whatever they're eating, the texture, or they're eating all by themselves. So I think 1-year-old might need some help, but 3-year-old can definitely model, and if she eats on her own, the 1-year-old will be motivated all the way more. Swati, how can I engage my 3-year-old daughter in physical activities at home? How much screen time is acceptable? So according to the researchers, screen time, 1.5-year-old screen time, no screen time till the child is 1.5-year-old, and post that not more than 1.5 hours is what I think is fine. So don't overdo the screen time, and also make sure that whatever they're watching, you are the one who sees all this content even before the child sees it. So we don't want them to see a lot of violent stuff online. So I see a lot of Indian cartoons are not very appropriate for the child, so make sure that you know what they're watching, and not more than 1.5 hours. And that too, what I do is I split it, so 45 minutes in the first half and 45 minutes in the second half. So make sure that you do that, and have strict rules about screen time, because children are very manipulative when it comes to screen time, because they love it and their brain really rewards them every minute they're watching it, so they love it to the core. So you want to make sure that the child has rules. So when my child is watching screen time, when I'm giving him 45 minutes, when 30 minutes are over, I go and tell him politely, you know what, you have just 15 more minutes, and I keep reminding him, and eventually we have made this habit wherein he stops watching it at 45 minutes. So engaging, I've already spoken in my video. You can give them a lot of online activities if you want, or otherwise you can see YouTube and you can pick up activities for her. You can do creative yoga, you can do, like I said, hurdles, which is loved by my kid, or you can give them a lot of free play. You can give them colors, or you can give them clay, or you can give them blocks. So this really works for 3-year-olds. Nick, my son is 3-year-old, gets annoyed easily and won't listen at all. I also have issues in making him eat on his own and putting him to sleep at night. He doesn't like to write too. Okay, too many questions at one go, Nick, but I think I've already answered the eating part, that have real expectations with your children, and he gets annoyed easily. Okay, he doesn't like to write too. Okay, so a 3-year-old, I would not expect them to write at such a small age. So you might want to try pre-writing skills wherein their fine motor grip. So this is called the fine motor grip. Gross motor grip is when you use the bigger muscles like your arms, your legs. So when you want your child to get fine motor grip, only then the child will be able to write. So I keep telling my clients that writing requires a lot of brain work. So it requires you to memorize the letters. It needs you to understand that which letter goes when and where to put the letter, and they need to have physical fine motor grip for them to write. So, and they have to memorize a lot of things. So actually writing is way difficult than reading. So I would not make my child or pressurize my child to write, but rather work on a lot of fine motor activities and pre-writing skills for now. Bhavana, since kids are staying at home only from 6 months, please let us know activities for kids to keep them engaged so that we will not be disturbed. They are stepping out. I don't get your question, Bhavana. I think you're asking for activities to keep them engaged. Yeah, so I spoke about giving them a lot of physical and gross motor activity which works great for them. So I've spoken about the hurdle and all those things. So I think you can pick from that. Shaivya, my 3.5-year-old is getting literally no physical activity or social interaction. I'm really concerned about his overall personality development. How to cope up during pandemic when child is stuck up at home? Okay, so Shaivya, you can actually make him do one video call a day with somebody who he loves talking to. That might be a great thing to start with when you are thinking about social and also your concern about the child's personality development. I don't think you have to worry too much, and corona is not here to stay. It is going to get over, and I understand that it's very, very disturbing and you are feeling really disturbed that the child is not getting enough stimulation, but I'm sure we can do a lot of things at home, and you give them a lot of physical activities at home, and that's about it. Sindhu, 3.5-year-old daughter, at times she's getting more anger. Is there a way to control them by yoga? Please suggest some yoga for this age. Okay, so I take yoga for children from 2.5-year-old onwards. So yes, yoga can help you regulate anger. Control, I'm not sure, but yeah, you can regulate anger. There are a lot of breathing techniques that you can teach your child. Mindfulness helps, so you can check on YouTube and also my page. So you can teach them various mindfulness exercises, and that really helps. And I wouldn't say a 3.5-year-old is getting angry. Are you trying to say she's throwing a lot of tantrums? I think it is okay for her to do that at that age. And also, how are you reacting to her anger? So a lot of times children get angry to grab attention or to get a particular tangible object. So find out the motivation behind her anger. Is she getting angry because you're not giving her enough attention, and you give that attention when she gets angry? So then I want to tell you that you might want to not give her attention while she gets angry, but rather when she shows a good behavior, when she is all calm and composed, just go and tell her, you did a good job that you're not getting angry, I'm really happy, so that she knows that she would get attention otherwise too. So a lot of times children get angry to get attention, so make sure that's not happening there. Kedar, what are the best type of yoga and physical activities at home for 2.8-year-old daughter? I want to teach her. Sure, Kedar, I think yoga is a great thing to teach our children. So what I do is I teach yoga with stories and music. And so I'm sure that Intili is also going to have a yoga workshop for children. I think you can enroll for that. And physical activities, like I told you, you can make them run, jump, crawl. All those things can be done at home in a very small space. And yoga, what type? I think the best type is creative yoga, wherein the child is not even getting to know that they are doing yoga. So most of the times children in my session don't know they are doing yoga. I don't use name of the poses, but rather I call it an animated animal name, or it's fun with stories and dance and music, so they don't even know they're doing yoga. Shipra Bhatnagar, hello ma'am, my son is 3 years old. He is quick learner and he actively participates in all activities, very talkative and sensible. But only thing is I want him to avoid his fondness towards phone rhymes and games. Please help me out. So I think the screen time is a big problem for all of us, Shipra. Like I told previously for another person who had asked a question, I think you can just see that. So yeah, phone addiction is a real thing, and I get a lot of clients for phone addiction as well. So you want to have very strict rules around screen times, and you go by it and don't use it as a tool. So a lot of times parents keep saying that, you know, if you eat, I'll give you phone. So don't do that. So don't make the screen stand on a pedestal, or just rather give it like you would give any other thing. So you don't use it as a reward. Chipra. Chaitu, my daughter is 4-year-old. Due to this lockdown, I have a feeling her physical activeness is so much lesser, interaction with other kids and socialization lacking totally. How much is the impact going to have in her future? Okay, Chaitu, I think this is going to impact all of us, not only your child, but all the children are going through this. And it's really sad that we have put all the children in these 4 walls and making them sit inside. But I'm sure that you can make use of this time, and you know, I know it's difficult, but yes, give her a lot of physical activity at home. And like I said for somebody else, that you can give them a lot of online, you know, you can make them talk on the video with other people they like. Simran, 2.5-year-old daughter always wants rhymes and phones, no internet in playing blocks, no interest in playing blocks, reading. She is active and knows a lot of rhymes. What to do to avoid phones? So I think this is a repeated query because this is a big trouble. I understand, Simran. So yes, they love it because it's very rewarding for them, and it is very difficult for us to pull them away from it. So have very strict rules again. I'm sorry if I'm being repetitive, but that is what we need to do. My daughter is Bella. My daughter is 4.6 years old. Because of the COVID, she is at home only. Nowadays, she is crying a lot for small reasons. She is not sharing anything with us. Also, day by day, she is becoming more cranky. I'm tensed. Is she going into depression? Okay, Bella, you might want to meet a professional for us to know whether or not it's it's depression. But I think this is a very normal response for all kind of all children here, because keeping them indoors is the worst thing to do, and it is difficult for the adults and the child. And her getting cranky and crying is because she is irritated and she wants to go out. So make sure you're making this a happy memory for her, and when you're staying indoors, you're trying your best to make it really happy and conducive for her. Give her a lot of physical activity and dance, sing, whatever she likes. So that is what we can do for now. Diksha, my 2.8-year-old is getting very frustrated and doesn't want to eat anything. She wants phone while eating. She cries, it doesn't fulfill her needs. Please help me with this. Yes, so Shipra, eating and phone should never go together. I think you know this already, most of us know this, but the easiest way to feed our children is by giving them a phone or a screen. So the first thing I'd want to do is separate these two things. There is going to be a lot of crying, but just reassure them that they're not going to get the phone during meal time. Sit together and eat. That is one thing that you can do, and eat what she's eating. And what my son loves to do is to be a part of the whole preparation. So I make him cook with me, I make him cut vegetables, wash vegetables, or whatever is more age appropriate. So I think you have, Diksha has so Diksha has a 2.8-year-old, so I'm sure she can do a lot of things in the kitchen. So I also make my son set the table, serve for all of us. So you have to get them involved all through the day. Vijay Lakshmi, if we force feed, then she will swallow. She will be hungry but doesn't feel that she should take and eat from the plate. Please help me to work. Okay, Vijay Lakshmi, I just want to check how much is the dairy consumption that you're giving. So a lot of parents tend to give a lot of milk all through the day. So don't give them a lot of milk, and make sure it's not more than 400 ml a day. This is what WHO suggests. And make sure that you don't force feed. So you don't want them to have this negative association with food, and sit alongside with her and eat. Try her favorite food for the first few days. I'm not saying junk, but whatever she likes for the first few days. Try her favorite food and remove the screen from the whole mealtime scenario, and try doing that. Nanda. My 3-year-old daughter gets very cranky when we log in for her online session. She wants to be switched off and have her me time. As currently there is no social life more than learning, we just want her to interact and have fun. How to develop interest? So yeah, like I said, Nanda, you can try practicing this before going online. So tell her to sit in front of the laptop like you would do any other day for your school, and just switch it on and tell her that we're going to go online and how are you going to react now. So just practice this whole situation 2-3 times before taking her, and also try talking to her why is that she doesn't like it, and tell her that her friends are going to be there, and just try understanding why she hates it so much. My 3.8-year-old is not willing to join online classes. Should I force him to attend? I have seen some weird behavior when I forcefully, but nice words only made him attend. Okay, so Aravinda, I think I wouldn't force a 3-year-old child to attend classes, but again, this is more of a personal choice. So if she is so aversive, I would you can also do this. Maybe you can start 5 minutes a day and then keep increasing it 10 minutes, 20 minutes. So when online sessions are going on, you can talk to the teacher as well, and also find out why the child is not liking to sit in front of the screen, and don't have very rigid rules around it and make it look very strict. And so if he wants to get up and take a stroll and come back, let him do that. Or if he wants to play for 5 minutes and come back, let him do that. Don't force him, and try to make this an enjoyable experience for him, and see what can be done from the other side as well. You can give a feedback to the school. I have a feeling even schools are very open to feedback nowadays. Even they want to know what is happening on the parents side. So try talking to the school and see if you can do something about it, but I would never want to force a child for online learning. Like I said, try increasing the time. Khushbu, hi ma'am, my daughter is 7 now, totally fed up with this lockdown because we are at our in-laws place. She doesn't have friends, toys, even clothes over here, and in Delhi cases are increasing. We are not going back. Tell how to handle her because she watch TV and mobile every time and gets scolded by everyone. Okay, if so, I'm a person, even today my son was enjoying playing with a few pebbles. So I don't think you really need fancy toys for children to play. I'm sure these fancy toys are really this really works for a lot of children, but a lot of times all they need is very, very simple. So try engaging in a few activities with the child and appreciate him every time he's not watching TV. So a lot of times what we do is we keep scolding the child for watching TV, but we don't do anything when the child doesn't watch TV and puts an effort to do something else. So every time your child doesn't watch TV, appreciate them and tell them and descriptively appreciate them, saying that I'm very happy that you didn't watch TV, something like that. So that they know that they're being appreciated, and also have very rigid rules around screen time. There is no other way to go about it. And make sure that you control their screen time, and also you have an app which controls the number of minutes that they are exposed to screen time. So make sure you do that. Momita Deb, if a child of 13-year-old boy always complains about his classmates, how to handle? I'm not sure. Are you saying the child is 13-year-old? Okay, if a child is complaining about his classmates, you can look at it at different levels. Either the classmates are really being giving him a tough time, or the child doesn't feel included in that particular group and he wants to get included, and he thinks that an adult intervention from outside would actually help. So find out why he doesn't like those classmates, and then we can maybe work on it. I think I have a few questions here as well. Okay, there are no questions here. I think that's about it. Are there more questions, Surya? I had a wonderful session today. It was such a pleasure talking to all of you. And I think one question that has repeatedly come here is about screen time, and it is very difficult to control screen time. I myself sometimes feel really troubled by the screen, but as parents it's very important for us to control screen time and have a positive relationship in the house as well. So I'll just wait for a minute or two for more questions. If you have any questions, please put it up here as well. I can take them up. Happy to take them up actually. Leave a comment about how you found this live video. I would love to do more of this, and we're going to end now. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Take care. Stay indoors. Have a beautiful time with your family.